I recently had this moment where I was legitimately, that looked like it was staged, didn't it? Where I was like, I will turn around and speak. I had this moment where I was legitimately afraid I was gonna lose everything recently. And like the long story short is, I made a bunch of money a few years ago and immediately bought a business I had no business buying, and I ended up losing $2 million in that business. And then my biggest investment was rated by the SEC for being a Ponzi scheme. Didn't see that coming. What? What the fuck? I had no idea. Then, as like a way to try and make up for it, I got pretty heavily into DeFi and staking, which is great when there's a bull market, but as soon as there's a bear market, things get liquidated and that money goes away. And so like to make up for that, I had open positions in aggressive put options. Then the market tanked, and it was like, oh my goodness, like I might lose everything. Like that, in a period of like 3 months, I lost a lot of what I had. And it was all scarcity mindset. It was all trying to get something because I was afraid I was gonna lose it. It's so funny. If you as a person in your mindset are not capable of handling money and wealth, then you'll find ways to make it go away. And for me, that was, I got more money than I ever knew what to do with or ever thought I would have. And I was so afraid that I was going to lose it that I did things to try and make it grow, to keep up with other people, drowned out all my creativity and all my mental space, and therefore couldn't focus clearly on building a great business, which is why I haven't started anything awesome in the last 5 years, and invested in things that were for short-term gain rather than long-term wealth, which is the exact opposite of what I would tell a friend or a student to do. I would tell them, clear up as much as possible because your biggest asset is your brain, and then you should put all of your money slowly into things that allow your brain to stay freed up. And a friend of mine, knowing that I was going through a hard time, flew to my house just for a day to like, hey man, like let's get you out of this spot. And he looked at my balance sheet and he told me what he thought I should do. He was like, this is a very fixable problem, Ryan, because we need just to free you up. And I listened to his advice and I was like, this is the exact advice that I would give somebody else. Why are we able to see it in other people and not in ourselves? So I'm telling you all this because when I share with you that the best thing that you can do is operate from a place of actual abundance, like I don't need anything, I don't want anything, I'm just gonna create from this place. When I tell you that that's what we all want, and when I tell you that that's where money shows up, it's because I've done both. I have been in that place, and that is where things grow, and it's fun, and it's easy, and everything opens up. And then I've been in the place where you're afraid that you're going to lose something, so you start building from a place of trying to get it, and that's where everything fails. The people that I see that go through like our stuff about building $1 million businesses, and they fail, are usually the ones who are tense about money. They're afraid to make the investment, and they have to make it work in order to justify the risk that they just took. And they're so tense about it making money to justify their decision, and so they're so anxious to avoid failure that they have no capacity to build a success. Those are the people who fail. Now, was their idea bad? Maybe not. Were they not hardworking? Nope. They were just operating from a place of scarcity, of fear, of trying not to lose rather than playing to win, or playing just to play the game. The people who win that I've seen are the people who are like, I want to bring this thing to the world, or I'm excited for this challenge, or I just feel ready for the next chapter. Those are the people who are like, oh, simple math, 4 products, 25 sales a day, $30 price point, that's $1 million business. I can do that. And it's so funny that I can give the exact same roadmap to each of those 2 people. One will build a multi-million-dollar business and the other will fail and call me a scam artist. Crazy. It's all up here. How do you get to that spot? I think it's realizing that if the nightmare scenario happens, you're still okay. And when you know that the nightmare scenario can happen and you'll still be okay, you don't fear the nightmare scenario anymore, and you can ease into that. For example, like, I've had several of my nightmare scenarios happen, and every time it happens, you come back to this place of like, you give up. You give up, not give up on your dreams, you give up the resistance that you had of trying to fight it from not happening. Because all your attention is going on the nightmare scenario. And I know if I lost everything, I'd move back to Ohio, bring my kids, move in with my brother, live in his basement, rebuild everything, like that. I heard a motivational speaker say, I believe this to be true. They said people who lost it all have the highest chances of making it all back, because it's like a rubber band. When you pull that back, it goes back faster. Because as soon as you give up the resistance, as soon as you give up the struggle, you're in a position to rocket ship back. It's the fighting it that is actually the thing keeping you stuck and making the nightmare scenario happen anyway. So you get to that place of ease and creativity, I think, through abundant simplicity, through keeping things ridiculously simple, about not trying to grow, but trying to create. Being in a place in which you are able to put all of your focus into something from that place of actual joy and creation. And that's when everything unfolds. And what will happen is you'll get that and you'll grow, and then you'll forget, and you'll have to come back, and then you'll grow and you'll forget, and you'll grow, and it'll be like this. And that's the career of an entrepreneur. Whenever I'm stressed, I take the jet skis out to the lake back there, and I look at these houses out there. I love to look at big houses, especially when they're being built. When I was a kid, my mom used to drive around the rich neighborhoods looking at the houses, and rich in our neighborhood was like a $300,000 house. And we would look at them, and she would say, Ryan, this is how the other half lives. Don't you want to knock on their door and just find out what they do for a living? Now, check this out. When I bought this house, this was the only house on the street. And none of these houses over here were built. And that white building over here, that's a restaurant. And people told me later that at that restaurant, they would sit at the bar and they would look across and see this one house on the street, and they'd be like, I wonder what that guy does for a living. You're in the other half. That's pretty cool. If you want my plan for building $1 million businesses, it's really simple. It's 4 products, 25 sales a day, $30 price point. That's a $1 million business. You can run the numbers if you want. And I have a free video series. It's called the Perfect Business Series, and you can find it around this video. 4 videos, it's free. It'll show you the entire model of how I built my big successes and how I've helped hundreds of people do it. The same model for all of those entrepreneurs. So if you want your first big win, if you can operate from that place of grace, of ease, of creativity, this video series will give you the formula for doing it, how to do it, how I think about it, and you can find it for free around this video. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran with Capitalism.com, and this is my house.